Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check.
Leading off the front of base, number 2, Tanner Shelton. Batting second at first base, number 1, Chris Castillo. Batting third at center field, number 14, Luke Tanner. Batting fourth at third base, number 16, Tom Savage. Batting fifth, the designated hitter, is number 13, Ryan Hartman. Batting sixth in left field, number 42, Walter Podolsky. Batting seventh, the catcher, is number 4, Ike Tyler. Batting eighth in right field is number 5, Mike Wazinski. Batting ninth in shortstop is number 12, Jack William. On the mound for the Beavers is number 18, Christian Baldwin. The assistant coaches are Michael Napolitano, Bruce Ginsburg, Norm Devine, Matt Tannenbaum, head coach of Babson in the 22nd season, Matt Moody. Babson College season.
Baby!
Hello and welcome to One Trinity Place in San Antonio, Texas, where we're here after a long offseason for Tiger Baseball. And I'm here with Reed Rosales. I'm Cole Isaacson. Reed, happy opening day.
Thank you, Cole. It's the best words in all of sports. Pitchers and catchers report. We're here with a top 25 caliber matchup.
Shavana's first pitch of the season, in for strike one.
It's always a good way to start your season.
Shavana facing Tanner Santos, second baseman for Babson, the junior. Low 1-1. Santos from Connecticut drew 38 walks last season, a team high. As that's dropped by Lazera and high for ball 2. Two-one pitch. Ball 3. So Shavana in danger of losing the leadoff man.
One of those cardinal sins as a pitcher, you never want to walk the leadoff man in any inning, let alone the start of the game.
We'll see if he does. Inside, ball 4. So 38 walks last year for Santos, add 1 to this season.
Yeah, and Shavana, a pitcher who walked 33 batters last season, getting a quick one early here. But these Tigers, they really know how to turn double plays, so we'll see how they fare.
Now Chris Basile up for Babson. High ball 1.
It's a Babson team that hit 270 as a team last year. They are capable with the stick in their hands.
Inside again. So Shavana only 1 strike in his first 6 pitches.
Just got to shake off some of the nerves or some of the rust perhaps.
Check on him at first and back in time.
I think that's a good pitch out right there to first base. Try to get the accuracy up.
There's strike 1.
Give him one pretty much right down the middle there. Get one in the zone, build up your confidence. It's exactly what he needed.
Basile, the first baseman. As Shavana will check on him again. Santos able to get back. Nobody out in the first inning. Runner on first. Breaking ball lands for strike 2.
Shavana in a better position than he was with the last batter.
And Shavana thinking about what he might throw. High ball 3, full count.
Big count early in the year, early in the series as well. Really want to set a good tone for these full count situations.
And he'll check on him for the 3rd time. If this were Major League Baseball, that'd be his 3rd disengagement.
He's checking on them because this is a Babson team that last year tried to steal bases 92 times. They're successful in 74 of them.
There's ball 4, and Shavana loses the first 2 batters.
See, Shavana went down because if that was going to be a strike, Lazaro was probably going to throw it over to second, thinking that they were going to steal, but they get a free pass.
So back-to-back walks for the first 2 Beavers. As the transfer from Division I Northwestern, Luke Tanner up to bat, hitting 3rd today.
Put him in a big spot. Transfers from Division I, usually getting starting time.
Outside edge, strike 1.
Usually trying to make a big impact. Trinity had that a couple years ago with Brian Schaub. And Babson trying to find their Brian Schaub.
Tanner getting the start in center field today, hit .247 last year at Northwestern, a graduate student at Babson. That's low. Lazera able to keep it in front of him. Throws back to first. And Santos able to get back in time.
Yeah, really checking on these runners. And I think both the runners on the base paths are doing a really good job being distractors to pretty much everyone in this infield. You got to focus on the batter at hand, though.
Inside. 2 runners on for the Beavers, both by way of the walk. Still nobody out. Basile at first, Santos waits at second. Ground ball. Could be two. Throw to first. Not in time, but the Tigers get one.
They get one, and they're set up for a double play for the next batter. Really needed that first out. Really needed any out at all, and they got it there.
They get it at second by way of the force. Luke Tanner able to be safe at first base. Tanner Santos makes his way to third, and the Beavers have a runner in scoring position for Brant Savage, who hit 11 home runs last season, by far the team high.
Absolutely, and what a better name than for your best batter than Savage.
Strike one.
It's going to be a duel between Shavana and Savage, to be sure, because Savage, seeing a runner in scoring position, certainly doesn't want to waste this opportunity.
They check on him, back safely. Savage, a dangerous hitter, coming up with only one down. Sacrifice fly possibility in this situation, as Savage fouls that one off. First game of the season for both teams. Tigers starting 2 weeks later than they did last season. These two teams met a year ago in this exact weekend. Shavana currently dealing with Savage and runners at the corners. Outside.
This is a series that we've come to know as a common occurrence, because this has lasted multiple classes of players at this point.
Checks on him again, and once again back safely.
Of course, the relationship between both sides, very good. They love playing each other.
Savage grounds that one to third. Tinker to second. On to first in time. And the double play ends the inning. Shavana gets out of the jam as we head to the bottom of the first on Tiger Network. Now time for the bottom of the first inning in San Antonio as the Tigers come up to bat for the first time all season. So that's fouled off by Maddox McDonald, the transfer student. Began his college career at Louisiana Lafayette. Now makes his way to Trinity University, hitting leadoff today in left field. Strike called outside edge. Oh, quick 0-2 on McDonald.
Yeah, and the Tigers have quite a challenge to deal with Spalter on the mound.
There's ball one from Spalter.
Clearly
Spalter, a 3.5 ERA last season after a 2.6 ERA the year before that. The most prominent returning pitcher for Babson. Ripped for a hit. McDonald will stay at first base. And with their first at-bat of the year, the Tigers are on board. Throw gets away. McDonald charging in for second, standing up safely. And already a runner in scoring position off the error.
Yeah, a couple of misplays. Julian had a chance at it, but just couldn't get the glove to the ball. And now Tigers, with that runner in scoring position, be a quick way to score a run. I don't know when they scored their first run last year, but I'm almost certain it wasn't. Potentially in their second AB.
So McDonald will wait at second base as Kai Tinker, the third baseman, set to hit, takes ball one inside.
This Tiger team batted .295 as a team last year. Just a couple ticks below 300. Very good.
Tinker last season hit .296, 23 games played, started 13, makes his first start of the year tonight. Runner in scoring position for Trinity. Foul. So after the foul ball, Tinker steps into the batter's box. Runner on second, nobody out. Swings through that one, and that's strike three. Foul tip, gets the strikeout, the first of the year for Spalter.
Big strikeout as well. Having the runner on second, you want to get to a point where you can force that out as quickly as you can. Working with the runner at your back is never comfortable, but Spalter, certainly a pressure cooker.
Now the switch hitter, Nick Lazera, up with one down and one on. Takes ball one outside. Lazera recovering from a torn labrum surgery. Had a rough stretch towards the middle of the season. We were all wondering what was going on. Well, that was it. Misses the rest of the year, has the surgery, and 10 months later, here he is in the opening day lineup. And that one gets away. McDonald gets back to second. Looked like it might have hit him, but Lazera not walking to first base, so it must have just missed him.
And good play by Kiley to get that ball so fast, because that could have easily been a runner only 90 feet away from home.
Outside. Spalter, all NewMax second team 2 years ago. Didn't make the team last year, but one of the premier pitchers in that conference. And that's ball four. He loses Lazera, and the Tigers have two men on board.
And the plot thickens for Spalter on the mound, but maybe slightly more comfortable now that you have a couple more places you can go if the next batter hits a ground ball.
So with one out and two on, up comes Christian Holloway, the designated hitter today. Holloway rips that one, but foul out in left field.
That was a crazy strong hit. Wonder if it went into that little hallway to the pool area.
Definitely had the power and the angle to do so. If it was fair, it was gone, and it wasn't going to be close. Spalter fakes on the runner. So McDonald back safely to second.
You have signs around campus near the baseball field to beware of fly balls. It's because of guys like Christian Holloway.
Swing and a miss.
Foul. And
Holloway still working through this at bat. 2 men on for the Tigers, 1 in scoring position. Check swing. Didn't go.
the foul and the big hack at the last pitch. Not in the most envious position for Holloway, especially working against the Babson ace. Beavers certainly riding on a really good pitching performance from Spalter.
Check swing. And that time he did go. And that will be strike 3 as Holloway is sent to the dugout, 2 down in the inning.
Once again, big moment this time for Spalter. Get out of this inning with 2 runners stranded. Set a really good tone for himself to start the season.
Now up comes the first baseman, Brandon Nelson, hit .260 last year. Slugging percentage of .494. As that's strike 1 on the outside edge. Tigers were able to get the first 2 batters to reach. Trying not to squander that opportunity in the first inning. That's low. The 1-1 count to Nelson. Spalter, like Shavana, an opportunity to get out of a rough inning to start. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
It would be a bit dreadful if the Tigers could not score any of these runners after starting out with that man on second to start the inning.
Fouled back and Nelson stays alive. Think about similar starts for both teams. Trinity able to get guys on in this inning. Babson did the same, an inning-ending double play. Tigers trying to get the early lead. And takes it. Looked like it could have gotten him, but once again, Nelson will stay where he is.
Right now it's pitcher versus batter. These runners are not going to take off likely.
2-2 count to Brandon Nelson. 2 down in this inning. Hit in the air to deep right field. Back at the wall, and it is gone. What a way to start the season for Brandon Nelson. A 3-run homer to give the Tigers the early lead.
Huge swing, and you got to put that baby on the scoreboard. They did not waste those runners on base after all, even when it looked pretty bleak for the Tigers coming through in the clutch like that.
Brandon Nelson celebrated as he goes back to the dugout, and if you parked in right field, I apologize because your windshield might be toast. So after all that excitement, Colt Harris now up. Inside edge, strike 1. Harris, the team's second baseman for the majority of these past 2 seasons. 1-1. Harris hit .246 last year. Rips that one to left field, but drifting foul. Similar to what Holloway did just a few batters ago.
Very similar. Can't help but feel for Colt Harris just a little bit, having to follow up the act of a monster home run like that.
Ripped up the middle, it gets down. A base hit for Colt Harris, and this inning isn't over yet.
It's starting to fall all around for Trinity. They are taking some very good ABs right now. Hoping to improve. They had a bit of a cold start with the bats to start the year last year, but right now they are red hot.
Just inconsistency all the way through. Sometimes not bringing runners in from scoring position, but Brandon Nelson did so there. Preston lifts that one to center, and it's going to fall. That's rolling back to the wall. Harris is going to be waved around, the green light for him, and he scores. 4-0 Tigers, bottom of the first. RBI double from Ty Preston.
Right now, worst possible scenario for Babson. Spalter giving up those runs, being down by 4 when eventually they head to the second inning. It is a rough one, and it provokes a mound visit very early.
Early meeting from Coach Noon. And that's going to be the day for Tristan Spalter. So the only returning Babson pitcher that threw more than 30 innings from the team last year is sent off the mound with only 2 outs recorded as we take a break on Tiger Network. Welcome back. Still in the bottom of the first inning in San Antonio. New pitcher from Babson, Jason Finkelstein, the freshman from Boston, Massachusetts, as he'll face the shortstop for today, Jack Baker. Hitting 8th in today's lineup. Takes ball 1 low. Baker, a .322 hitter last season, OBP of .417, so not an easy 8-hole hitter to deal with. Hit to center field. Catch is made. And mercifully for Babson, the inning is over. All it took was 2 pitches for Jason Finkelstein to get us to the second on Tiger Network. Top of the second in San Antonio, 4-0 Trinity, opening up the lead against Babson. As Joseph Shavana back on the mound. First pitch in for strike one. Shavana faces Ryan Hosdovic. Hit .313 last year as a freshman for Babson. Pitch low for ball one.
And for Shavana, really hoping to get off to a better start than inning one was, where he had trouble locating the zone.
Ground ball to Shavana, and he calmly throws to first for out number one.
Little return to sender action. Shavana flashes the leather a little bit. Don't get to see that too often out of him, but always nice to know he's got the fundamentals down.
Shavana working with a 4-0 lead. His first two starts last year got a combined 1 run of run support. Lost 3-0 to Birmingham Southern, and then 2-1 to Hardin Simmons. That's ripped but foul. Off the bat of Walter Sadowski, playing left field today. But Shavana pitched so well in those first two games. Trying to settle into this one. 2 walks in that first inning got him into some trouble. Grounded past the dive of Nelson. And the first hit given up by Shavana to Walter Sadowski.
If there's one thing Shavana has right now, it is run support. The bats gave him a fort. He's got to hold down the fort. But a runner on first now.
Now up to bat the catcher, Ike Kiley. He's been with the Beavers for quite a few years, part of the veteran presence that this Babson team has offensively. A tie for ball one. Kiley working with a runner on first base. 1 down. Strike one.
Shavana really working on that breaking ball, getting it in the right place. When it's on, it's really on.
Shavana telling me his slider, his go-to pitch, as it looked like he went around. Yes, he did. Ike Kiley, a .309 hitter last season. 2021 NUMAC Rookie of the Year. Ground ball to Tinker. Throws the second on to first. And no play as the Tigers settle for 1.
It's never a bad thing to know when the runner's too fast. You never want to throw a ball and have it be for nothing and potentially, have a throwing error to get a batter that you're never going to get.
So Tinker plays it safe. Tigers get 1 as Mike Schwarzinski up to bat for the first time today. Schwarzinski in right field today, hitting 8th. Strike one. Schwarzinski did not have a hit last season, the senior out of Connecticut. Trying to get his first in quite some time. Grounded. Tinker. In time. And Shavana settles it down. Still 4-0 Tigers on Tiger Network. Bottom of the second on Tiger Network, Jack Peterson leads off the inning for Trinity. Coming off a big first inning, 4 runs scored for the Tigers as Peterson squares up, but it got him. So not a good way to start the inning for Finkelstein as Peterson takes first base.
Yeah, no, Finkelstein shoe-shined Peterson, got him right on the foot.
And you could tell by his facial expression, he did not appreciate that.
You can see it on the replay there. Off the side of the foot, clear as day. Certainly not the way you want to start the inning if you're Finkelstein.
And not only that, allowing Jack Peterson, who stole second 25 times last season, was not caught. So you would expect him to not be there for very long. We'll see how many times they throw over to him. As top of the Tiger order back up, Maddox McDonald got a single, made to second by way of an error. Squares up to bunt and gets away for a second. Peterson thought about it, but he'll stay at first base.
For a Tiger team that stole 102 bases last year, to be a quarter of that on your team, that's quite the dangerous weapon on the base paths.
Ezra Gord led the team with 26 as Maddox McDonald squares up again. Peterson will stay where he is. Good job by Kiley keeping that in front of him. But Ezra Gord led the team with 26 steals, Peterson 25 right behind. But with Gore gone, Peterson in a prime position to lead the team in steals his senior year. As McDonald settles back in. 2-0 count. Inside.
The first year jitters for Finkelstein. Having trouble locating the zone right now. Been a bit of a wild thing.
There's strike one. You would assume that McDonald had a red light on that pitch. 3-0, not swinging.
See if that red light turns green.
Runner does go, but fouled off, and Peterson will have to go back. And full count now, you would expect him to be on the run again. Takes ball 4. And the first 2 Tigers reach base in the second inning.
And now red alert for Finkelstein. No outs, yet runner in scoring position. Very similar to the top of the first. Tigers ended up scoring 4 runs in that inning. Certainly don't want that to happen again if you're Babson.
2 of the first 3 batters reached in the top of the first for Trinity. Kai Tinker struck out. He'll try to not do that this time as he pulls the bunt back for ball 1. In the first inning, it was a McDonald base hit. Tinker struck out, and then Lazara on board with a walk. All driven in by the Brandon Nelson 3-run homer to blow this game open in the first inning. Now Finkelstein trying to get out of the jam. Pulls bunt back, but strike called. Located on the lower corner.
All these Tiger bats have to be pretty happy to see a first year, even just psychologically, knowing that he is inexperienced at this level of baseball.
Runners go. Lifted to right field, it gets down. Peterson being waved in, McDonald to follow, and it's 6-0 Trinity.
That inexperience maybe coming in there. Ball just fell in between Stravinsky and Tanner. And once again, Trinity, they're pouring on the runs right now. And Babson just really struggling to find a response on the mound.
Struggling to find a response, but if it's anything for Babson, there is 1 less run on the board than I thought there would be. It's only 5-0. McDonald stopped at second base. He's there now. So 5-0 for Nick Lazara, who also squares up to bunt. So if I'm not mistaken, that means that everyone who has hit so far has squared up to bunt. I believe this is the 4th hitter we've had. Tinker on first. McDonald waits at second. Still no outs in the inning. Breaking ball in, strike one.
One of the good things to do as a batter is if you do square up to bunt, you get to see a pitch break way better in the bunting position than you do just standing there.
Lifted to left. It'll get down and behind the left fielder. Around comes McDonald. Tinker to follow. Lazera cruising in to second base. Tinker slides in safely. And it's 7-0 Trinity in the first 2 innings.
Yeah,
Nick Lazera, 2 RBI double.
a really big hit there. Just shot it out into left field. Ada Sadowski bounced off of him awkwardly, going into a terrible spot for him. That's how you clear the bases, 101.
It'll be interesting to see whether they give Sadowski an error or whether they give Lazera a double for that. Either way, 7 runs on the board for Trinity. Strike one low to Christian Holloway. Holloway 0 for 1 in the game. Takes ball 1. Lazera will stay where he is. Again, a good job by Kiley keeping that in front of him.
I have to wonder what the game plan for Babson will be now. Whether if it's we're down by this much, we can try and make a comeback with our guys in the reserves.
That one does get away from Kiley, and Lazera cruises into third. So a wild pitch from Finkelstein advances the runner, and with nobody out, Lazera waits on third base.
Or if they're going to keep in Finkelstein for as long as they want to just see what the kid can do out there.
Fouled off. As not a good start for Babson, obviously. Losing Tristan Spalter in the first inning, only recorded 2 outs. Through 69 innings last season, that was a season high, and led the team by far in returning players. Holloway lifts that one to left. Makes the catch. Lazera will tag up. Throw not in time, and it's 8-0. What a start for the Tigers, a 4 spot in each of the first 2 innings.
And for Babson, it's just kind of a question of, at this point, what are we going to do? Do we put in some of our younger guys in the bullpen and prepare our best guys for game 2 at this point? Or are we going to keep trying to fight in this one? Down 8. It's not impossible, but it is very unlikely.
Now in the batter's box, Brandon Nelson, the man who did all that damage in the first inning. Hit a 3-run homer to get the Tigers started. It looked dicey at that point. Spalter 1 pitch away from getting out of the first inning without any damage done. Gives up the 3-run homer, and it is blown open since then. Now 8-0 Trinity.
Empty bases for him this time. If he goes deep, it's only 1 run. But Babson just trying to stop the bleeding.
Lifted to right center. Catch made for out number 2.
Sigh of relief at this point. Just forcing a can of corn out in center field. Once again, just really wanting to get out of this inning and put it behind them.
Getting Luke Tanner involved early, the transfer from Northwestern. He's made both catches in this inning for the 2 outs. Pitch low to Colt Harris for ball 1. Harris hitting 6 today. Singled his first time up. Fouls it off, and it's 1-1.
This is a Tiger team that 2 years ago had some of the best bats in the nation. Right now, very reminiscent of that.
Swing and a miss, strike two. Now you talk about 2 years ago, the team that went to the World Series, 9.8 runs per game. That was 5th in the country. Last year, that number down to 6.3. And trending more towards the 9.8 side today. 1-2 to Harris. Floats that one and caught. What a catch by Jack Julian, ending the inning. Still 8-0 Trinity, but ends on a high note for the Beavers.
Absolutely. Quick shot, the leap, the catch. What a great flash of the leather right there. Looked like a Gold Glover with that kind of play. This is a sound defensive team as well. They don't make too many errors, but they're still in a hole. They really got to figure something out in these next couple of innings.
Yeah, they're a really good fielding team, and I watched them practice ground balls yesterday. They practice every type of situation. Coach Noon will hit ground balls left, right. He'll say runner on first, runner on second, this many outs. So they really work on every situation in terms of fielding. Not only that, they're smart. They play on grass back at Babson, back in Massachusetts, and they played turf here, obviously. So just taking as many ground balls as they could, getting used to the turf, and that's the type of detail Babson puts into their preparation.
That's good detail to have with more teams moving towards that turf field. It's hard because sometimes you could go be playing on dirt, maybe down in Florida for spring break, and then you come to San Antonio and the field is turf.
Babson very familiar with playing in Florida in spring break. That's where they are in 2 weeks. And they've done that the last several years, playing at Port Charlotte. This year also taking a trip to Port Myers down in Florida. Shavana back out there for the top of the third. As first pitch yanked to the wall for ball one.
One sign that these Tiger bats are having a good day, along with Shavana, is that Babson has not rotated through their order yet.
There's strike one, evens it at one apiece. Now up for the Beavers, the 9-hole hitter, Jack Julian. Just made that incredible play at shortstop as he fouls this one off. So he ends the last inning, he starts this one. And like you said, the 9-hole hitter, meaning that Babson has not gone through their entire order. Whereas most of the Trinity hitters have already hit twice. Gets away from Lazara, and it's ball two.
Baseball has a funny way of working like that. Whenever you get put in, the ball finds you. Whenever you're up next to bat, the ball finds you. It just works in mysterious ways sometimes.
Fouled off, and it's 2-2. Yeah, going back to baseball working in mysterious ways, we talked about Shavana not getting any run support in those first 2 games. And when I asked him about it yesterday, that's what he told me. This is a weird sport. You can do all the right things, but you still get punished. That's a fair ball down the right field line. Julian digging in for second base. Throw offline. And a double for the Beavers.
Trying to receive the throw. It's a good thing that it didn't go too far past the Tiger infield. Could have been a runner at third, but great piece of hitting by Julian, just getting it over the head of Nelson over at first. Perfect shot down the line.
So a good start to the Beavers in an 8-0 hole. They have a runner in scoring position. Shavana will check on him and back safely. So the Beavers order finally flips over. Tanner Santos walked his first time up. Popped up. And making the catch is Preston for out number one.
Good piece of pitching right there. Just forcing the bat to get under the ball. Easy, lazy fly out for the Tiger outfielder to deal with.
So after the F7 from Santos, Chris Basile up. Also walked his first time up. Shavana walked the first 2 batters he faced, has not walked somebody since. And they say he won a round. Basile, a .313 hitter last season. OPB and slugging of .375. And strike called on the outside edge. Basile was 4th on the team with 13 multi-hit games. And he's going to need another one, you would think, if Babson were to come back in this game. Strike 3 called. Shavana gets him looking, and 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, they need to get on base. The last thing they wanted there was a backwards K in the scorebook.
The first strikeout of the night for Joseph Shavana. And it brings up the 3-hole hitter, Luke Tanner. Tanner 0 for 1 with a fielder's choice. There's strike 1.
One of the interesting things about these check swing appeals is we're working with a 2-man crew for officiating tonight. You can see the 2 umpires on your screen.
Pitch gets away, and cruising into third is Jack Julian. So the first run for Babson on the doorstep.
They're going to need to get a hit or for the Tigers to make an error in order to score it. Sac fly opportunity not on the table right now.
RB opportunity for Luke Tanner. Takes that low. See some good defense by both of these catchers today. Able to keep some pitches in front of them. 1-2 count to Luke Tanner. Breaking ball. Strike called. Well, I guess that was a 2-1 count. I think the fingers are flipped for me. So anyways, 2-2 count now. There's strike 3. Got him looking again, and back-to-back Beavers struck out by Shavana to end the inning.
Yeah, great right there by Shavana, getting himself out of the inning. No pressure at all from the runner on second and then at third. Just doing his stuff, throwing it over the plate, and catching 2 guys looking.
We'll head to the bottom of the third next on Tiger Network. 8-0, Trinity leads Babson. Welcome back to Trinity University Baseball as the Tigers lead the Babson Beavers 8-0. Ty Preston set to lead it off against Jason Finkelstein, who remains in the game. Finkelstein came in relief of Tristan Spalter, the starter for Babson. Only made it through 2 outs. And 1-1.
The important thing for Finkelstein here is just really trying to attack the zone. Was really missing it last time.
Hits it again there, and it's 1-2.
Perhaps it was just getting those first year, first game jitters out of the way to really get to his good stuff.
Fouls it off and stays alive. Preston, 1 for 1 in this game. He hit an RBI double. Put the Tigers up 4-0 at the time. Obviously up by a little more now. Ripped to right. Back at the wall and caught at the warning track. Good play by Walter Sadowski reading that one, and 1 down in the inning.
It was a little dangerous watching Sadowski go back and back and back before settling on the warning track. Nearly left the park, but sure, sigh of relief for Finkelstein getting that first out much faster than he did last inning.
So that brings up Jack Baker. Flew out to center his only time up and takes strike 1. You know, I was talking to Dave Smith about the nature of this ballpark, and he pitched here before he was a coach here, current pitching coach. But he says, I can't tell you how many fly balls I gave up for home runs in this ballpark just because of the way the wind carries. Nearly had another one there. Check swing, strike called.
This is a Trinity team. Won their conference last year, the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference. They went 31-16. Beat TLU in the championship.
That's outside.
Getting that Pool A automatic qualifier bid into the regional. Eventually they fell to ETBU. But that was a really solid Tiger squad that year.
Check swing high. And that brings the count full. But you talk about the nature of last season, and particularly in how it was different from the year before. We talked about the runs and the difference there. But the pitching staff for Trinity, as that's hit in the air to center. Catch made 2 down. But the ERA dropping from a 6.29 2 years ago to a 3.44 last year. That 3.44 ERA ranked 8th in the nation.
Yeah, just so much solid pitching. And they return a good chunk of it. Definitely some turnover. But right now, it's looking really good.
Peterson lifts that one foul. Peterson hit by pitch in his only time up. As you see that ball still going into the parking lot, but Jack Peterson up to bat once again. Ball hit his shoe last time. You could see the pain that he felt after that. Never feels good to get hit. Strike called.
You can see the break that Finkelstein's getting on those breaking balls, but just really needs to hone in and focus.
Slap to right. Catch made to end the inning. So a quick inning for Babson. Still down 8-0. Top of the fourth in San Antonio. Joseph Shavana back on the hill for the Tigers. That's low for ball one. Faces the dangerous Brant Savage. We mentioned it earlier, hit 11 home runs last season. Talked to Coach Noon about him, says he's just a big, powerful guy, but also works really hard, making a great combination for a player. That's low for ball two.
Yeah, and Shavana really picking up the tempo. 3 pitches already in the blink of an eye.
There's strike.
Interested to see what the thought behind it is. Just speeding up Savage, perhaps.
Swing and a miss, strike two.
Just want to keep this dangerous batter on his toes. Don't give him any time to think.
We'll see how Shavana attacks him here. Inside, strike called. So the third consecutive batter for Babson caught looking. Third K for Shavana on the night.
Yeah, perfect spot right there. Catching that inside corner as the most difficult spot to hit a ball if you're a batter.
Is that pitch low to Ryan Hosdovic, the second year. Found his way into the Babson lineup quite frequently, making 39 appearances last season. Made his debut in Game 2 here last year. Pitch hit single in a 3-2 loss. That's outside. Ball four, and he loses him. First walk since the first inning, handed out by Shavana.
Now another opportunity for the Beavers, having the runner on first base. I'll really try to get him over. Never want to get shut out in your first game of the season.
Walter Sadowski up. He's 1 for 1 with a single. Inside ball one. That looked pretty similar to the one that was called strike three.
Who knows? Maybe he blinked.
Throw to first, not in time.
But yeah, Shavana now slowing down things. Worked really quick with Savage. Now slowing things down for everyone else.
We'll check on him again. As we know, Shavana's been prone to do this. Likes to take his time in these situations. Checks on the runner whenever he feels it's prudent. Outside.
It's a Babson team. Went 24-18 last season. Lost in the NEWMAC championship. And really tough NEWMAC conference. New England men's and women's athletic conference.
Ball high.
Just really two juggernauts over there in Salve Regina and Wheaton, Massachusetts. Wheaton, Massachusetts, who really gave Babson some trouble last year. Wheaton, Massachusetts ended up getting that Pool A bid into the NCAA tournament.
Looks like we're going to have a meeting from Coach Smith and Nick Lazera with Joseph Shavana on the mound. But you talked about the hurdle that Wheaton presents for Babson. Last several years just haven't been able to get past him, and it's cut their season short a few times.
Yeah, and really it's been a tug of war between Salve and Wheaton, Massachusetts. And it's just Babson kind of caught in the awkward middle in the past couple of years, looking for their first tournament appearance since 2019. Went to the College World Series that year, but ever since then, they've been absent from the tournament.
Now we know this program's capable of getting to the highest points of Division III college baseball. We've seen them do it, but Wheaton presenting a large hurdle for Babson. They played 6 of their final 7 games against them, and they went 1-5 in those games, several of them in the NEWMAC tournament. As Shavana loses on ball 4. And back-to-back batters reach for the Beavers.
Shavana has been in a similar situation earlier. Got out of it. We'll see if Babson can get the better of him here.
Now up to bat, the catcher, Ike Kiley. He's been with the Beavers for quite a while. Takes ball 1 outside, so Shavana walked the last 2 batters. Hadn't done that since the first inning, his 4th walk of the game. There's a strike on the inside edge.
And really working the inside. Always frustrating for a batter, trying to get that inside corner. Hard to connect the bat to that area.
Played up the middle, could be 2. I got the 1 on the 2. On to first for 2 as Brandon Nelson puts it away. A double play to end the inning for Shavana once again.
Once again, a pitch kind of leaning towards the inside. Just forces that jam shot. Makes for easy double plays.
So the 6-4-3 ends the inning as we take you to the Tiger batters next. Bottom of the 4th on Tiger Network, Trinity leads Babson 8-0 as Maddox McDonald, the leadoff hitter, up for the 3rd time today. Picked at 3rd in time for out number 1. Good play by Brant Savage.
Good play by Savage, and maybe a bit too aggressive there, swinging on the first pitch. But saw something he liked, perhaps. Not always a bad idea to swing at the first pitch, but I'm sure coaching staff wants a little more patience.
Kai Tinker now up for Trinity. With 1 down in the inning, he takes strike 1. But these two teams very familiar with each other. They've played each other 6 of the last 8 years. Series that started in 2017. And an interesting note is that nobody has won back-to-back series. Popped up. And catch made for out number 2.
Very familiar with each other. You'd think Babson from Wellesley, Massachusetts, they can't come down here that often, but no. We've had entire players on Trinity from their first year to their senior year start every single year against Babson, except for that COVID year. But other than that, they've been the opener every time.
Nick Lazara up to bat. He takes ball 1 low. And not only has nobody won back-to-back series, nobody has swept. The Tigers currently hold an 8-7 record against Babson, winning the series last year. But it's been neck and neck every year. Strike 1 on the outside edge.
Yeah, they're a good match for each other. Some really good pitching for Babson. But today, Trinity really getting the better of them with those hot bats.
That one yanked inside for ball 2. You talk about how tight this series is. There were some scores that got out of hand last year, but not blowouts, I would say. 6-1 for Trinity in Game 1, 11-6 in Game 2, and then a thriller in Game 3, 3-2. Lazara plays that one in the left, and that will end the inning. Sadowski makes the play, and that's it for the 4th in San Antonio. Top of the 5th inning in San Antonio. Joseph Shavana on the hill once again as he faces Mike Schwarzinski, right fielder, grounded out in his first time up. 0 for 1 on the day. Takes ball 2. We were talking about how familiar these teams are with each other. 8-7 record for the Tigers. Coach Noon saying how much he loves coming down here for the first game of the series. Most importantly, it gives them a chance to get out of the snow. It's cold up in Massachusetts this time of year, and they have to spend a lot of time inside. Check swing, strike called.
It's usually similar sentiment for any New England teams I talk to as well. Babson softball coming down here last year. Very similar sentiments.
Ball 4, and he loses them. The 5th walk handed out by Joseph Shavana.
But we were talking about earlier, the familiarity between these two sides really starts at the top with the head coaches.
Yeah, Coach Scannell and Coach Noon known each other for a long time. Scannell played college ball at Northeastern, where Matt Noon coached him for a year. Then they coached together after that for a little bit before Scannell came to Trinity. As the 9-hole hitter, Jack Julian now up. Takes another ball there. But not only do these coaches know each other well through all their years of coaching together and Noon coaching Scannell, but they've spent a lot of time with each other over the summer as Shavana lands a strike there. Scannell has New England roots. That's why he went to Northeastern. Coach Noon works up there over the summer. We'll get into that later. That's a fun story. But they saw each other a lot. As that's lifted into right and down foul. Close call right on the line.
Very close call. If that was going to be fair, I'm not sure either of them would have gotten to it. Some good communication for the Tigers. Maybe a bit fortunate that it did land foul. That was very close.
Yeah, just a couple inches away. Harris and McDonald both in pursuit. But anyways, both Coach Scannell and Coach Noon have roots in the New England area. They spent time up there this summer. Coach Scannell's son playing in the Cape Cod League, he broke his wrist. Matt Noon ultimately put the Scannells in touch with the doctor that would do the surgery on Scannell's son's wrist. So a fun story about how connected these two programs and these two coaches actually are. Jack Julian still working as Shavana checks on the runner.
Speaking of sons, Coach Noon's son on the team last year, not on the team this year, graduated, but son and a nephew, very big impact players.
Golf to center. Peterson makes the catch. Yeah, you talk about Coach Noon's son, Tim Noon, one of the best pitchers on this staff. A big reason why they have so many question marks at that position right now is because he graduated doing his master's at Duke, similar to what MJ Metz did. There's a strike.
It's always a cool opportunity for when coach gets to have his kid on the same team.
Shavana checks on the runner again. As the leadoff man, Tanner Santos, back in the batter's box, 0 for 1. Flew out his last time up, walked his first time up. It's ball high. Talk about Tanner Santos and the amount of walks he actually draws. Drew 18 in his first year, 38 last year. So I asked Coach Noon about the batting average being a little down, which it was. It was above 300 his first year. Not the case last year. And he said, well, I don't worry about that because pitchers in the region respect Santos as one of the premier hitters. So they tend to pitch around him, which makes sense. Fouled off, and Santos stays alive.
Always something to be said about a batter when the other pitching staff is going, man, do we really have to pitch to this guy? Let's just avoid him.
Not only that, Babson has other powerful hitters in their lineup. Brant Savage hit 11 home runs. You're going to hear that a lot this weekend. Yet they're choosing to pitch around Santos. Ground ball could be 2, and it is. So another double play for Trinity to end the inning, the third time it's happened, as they still lead Babson 8-0. Bottom of the 5th, Trinity University, Christian Holloway leading it off. Hard hit to right. And caught.
Really good play out there by Swerbinsky. That is a tough place to get to on this field. Look how much ground he has to cover to actually get to the foul line. Catches, falls down, but it's an out all the same.
And that's a dangerous area out there in right field. We saw Trey Verver last season, hit his head on the fence. As now Brandon Nelson working in this inning with one down, nobody on. Still facing Jason Finkelstein, who's done a good job absorbing some innings for Babson. Nelson fouls that off. You think Babson just saving their arms for the next two games at this point, down 8-0.
Certainly. And I don't know if you've heard the term turf monster, but I think that's what got Stravinsky out there and right.
Strike called.
Sometimes when you play on turf and you're running hard, your cleats get caught in the turf because it does not play the same as grass.
And you see the replay of what Brandon Nelson did the last time he was up, or 2 times ago, I should say. Swings for that one foul. Really broke this game open, made it 3-0 for the Tigers if you're just joining us. Able to put up a 4 spot in that inning and the next one, riding that momentum. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Strikeout for Finkelstein, 2 down in the inning.
Finkelstein really starting to find his groove. He's been holding the Tiger bats down fairly well after that last 4 spot. So really starting to get into his mojo.
Now Colt Harris up for the 3rd time today. Check swing, strike called.
You may look at Finkelstein's stat sheet and say he gave up a lot of runs, but he was coming into probably one of the worst situations possible.
Yeah, you have to imagine you're throwing Tristan Spalter, one of the top pitchers in terms of innings pitched last year for Babson. It was a career high for him in that category. You're thinking, I'm probably not going to be throwing for a while. Swing and a miss for Harris. Back-to-back strikeouts for Finkelstein to end the inning as we head to the 6th on Tiger Network. Welcome back to the 6th inning in San Antonio. Joseph Shavana in another inning of work as he faces the second hitter, Chris Basile. There's strike 1.
Baseball not the only thing going on campus right now. Softball is being played. Trinity getting a walk-off win against Hardin Simmons.
Softball off to a really good start, taking down ETBU last week. A statement win for Trinity. Grounded to Harris. Takes care of it for out number 1.
Now it's a year with some expectations for this baseball team, however. Being nationally ranked in the first D3 baseball poll, being picked to win the SCAC again. Certainly some expectations and some hope for this program.
Now you talk about the expectations. That seems to come year after year with Coach Scannell. Only one losing season in his time here. We were looking at that and we were like, what the heck happened in 2007? Because we assume it's not his fault based on the track record he's put up in these 26 years here. And there's a strike to Luke Tanner. And as you said, picked to win the SCAC once again. Seems to be a common trend, defending SCAC champions, though it was a pretty close race last year.
It was a close race. Almost entered into the tournament with every team having identical records.
Check swing. And it looks like he didn't go.
It was really crazy. Remember that same year we had a situation with basketball where we had a bunch of scenarios that could have happened. And even though the Tigers didn't enter that tournament as the 1 seed, they certainly looked like it.
Rounded up the middle and past the dive of Baker. So a base hit for Luke Tanner and his first hit in his Babson Beavers career. And that'll bring up the third baseman, Brant Savage. 0 for 2 with a fielder's choice and got caught looking. Now I'll try to get his first hit of the season, but you talked about the SCAC tournament last year. Felt like Trinity was the 1 seed. Ooh, close pitch there. Shavana nearly got him on the pickoff. He came in as the 2 seed and really mowed through it, winning 3 consecutive games. That one nearly gets away. Throw to first. Not in time.
Interesting base running decisions from Luke Tanner, who was really far out there. He was very indecisive as well, having to scramble back. Got to be careful or else he's going to get picked out by Lazara.
Shavana's thrown the first a few times, not with much success, but 2 times Tanner nearly got picked off.
We're talking about that SCAC tournament. They mowed through it against TLU, who was the 1 seed. They stole a baker's dozen worth of bases. They really had their game plan going.
Pickoff attempt, not so close that time.
And it was no surprise that they made it to that regional final. Back-to-back years making a regional final. Scannell's done it a couple of times, and the Tiger squad can certainly do it again.
Ball in the dirt. This time it gets away, and Tanner cruises into second base to put a runner in scoring position for the Beavers.
And Shavana today has been kind of spiking a couple of balls in the turf. It was bound to happen eventually that Lazara would lose one.
So now a runner in scoring position for one of the most dangerous hitters in Division III baseball. Lifted to left, and it gets down. One hops the wall, throw from Preston in, but it's not going to hold the runner, and the Beavers have their first run of the year. An RBI double for Brant Savage.
That was really needed from Savage especially. Good piece of hitting. Really showing off his power. Rocketed that ball. Went out there in a flash. But his line before that was grounding into a double play and striking out looking. When you're playing cleanup, you do not want to be the one that's cold. And now he's hot with an RBI.
First RBI of the year for the Babson Beavers goes to Brant Savage. Not a surprise. Well, Shavana checks on Savage at second base. Now Hosdovic up for Babson. Takes it for a ball. And what the Beavers most want to hear, not a runner on first base, no double play possibility unless something weird were to happen.
Exactly. Unless Hosdovic gets supremely unlucky and lines it right to where second base is. He'll be hard pressed.
Babson hitters have grounded into 3 inning-ending double plays. For reference, we are in the 6th inning, so that is over half of the ones we've played. That is not a ratio they want to continue. Swing and a miss from Hosdovic, strike 2.
Does make me curious if we keep track of season highs for double plays. I'm curious, having 3 in a game, it's quite extraordinary.
Grounded past the dive of Tinker. Savage will be held at third. Ozdovic stays at first, and the Beavers have runners at the corners.
And right now they're in double play territory. Going to want to work very carefully here. Have another opportunity to score a run. Don't want to tag 2 outs onto yourself.
So a meeting. At the very least, Shavana in his 6th inning of work. And it looks like it will be just a meeting.
I think a smart decision. I don't think there's any reason to pull Shavana from this game. Runners on the corners, yes, but certainly in a favorable position. Shavana has shown that he can get these guys looking a couple of times. Shavana's pitched very well tonight.
Shavana 3 strikeouts, all of them looking, 3 in a row. But the 5 walks. I talked to him about giving up walks. Gave up 5 in the Winter World Series game, the scrimmage that he pitched just a few weeks ago. He said at the same time, while it's not about just giving up walks and trying to limit that, it's about making sure you don't give bad walks. As there's ball 1. Said there were times where there was first base open, runner on second, fall behind. Maybe it's just best to walk a good hitter. But there were also times where nothing was near the zone, and it's probably best to change that.
Goes back to that breaking ball there. Certainly trying to induce a ground ball for a potential double play.
Golf to right. McDonald makes the catch, throwing home. Savage tagging, and he's safe for the second Babson run.
That throw maybe had a bit of a better angle. I think the turf cut off with that friction. May have had a play at the plate. But it's another run for Babson. Sorely needed still. But that was a rocket of a throw going home. Very incredible from Harris.
Check swing, strike 1 to Ike Kiley, 0 for 2 today. Grounded into a fielder's choice. And a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. As that's high for ball 1. Ozdovic stayed at first during that sequence, so just a runner on first for Babson, 2 down in the inning.
Still a comfortable lead for Trinity.
Check swing, strike called.
Up 6 runs. Really don't need to start getting worried until they pull within 4. Then at that point, maybe you're moving uncomfortably.
Ball in the dirt, runner goes, throw, gets by him. So Ozdovic safe at second base.
You're going to see on the replay here. Sees the runner goes, doesn't have a good start to begin with to pop up and throw. And then just too much traffic, really. Lets the ball get by him. Good job to not let that ball go into center field, though. Could have been an extra base.
Check swing low. Lazara able to keep it in front of him.
Lazara does have a nice cannon for an arm. Saw during those inter-squad games that happened before the season. He threw out a couple guys trying to steal. Unfortunately for him, just not the most favorable situation.
Keeps in front of him again as Shavana loses him. The 6th walk handed out by Joseph Shavana.
Both sides of Shavana and Lazara taking a moment, catch their breath, work on the next batter. Certainly don't want to let Babson get any more momentum.
Runners at first and second. He faces Mike Swerzinski, who walked the last time he was up. There's ball 1.
Once again, talking about spiking those pitches in the turf. maybe a bit more dangerous with a turf field than a dirt one because the ball's going to bounce pretty well on turf.
Swings through that one, strike one. Shavana in some trouble. He's gotten out of it throughout the game. Ball high.
It's good to see a nice turnout for the crowd for the opener for the Tigers.
Ground ball to Baker. Gets the out. Ends the inning. Runners on first and second for Babson can't capitalize, but they get 2 runs in the inning to make it 8-2. Bottom of the 6th inning on Tiger Network. Ty Preston leads things off for Trinity, now up 8-2 as Babson gets 2 of them back. Jason Finkelstein still in the game. 0-1 count to Preston. Fouled off, 0-2.
I think some good uniform selection choices for both sides. Trinity in their classic pinstripes in maroon and white. And Babson, that nice dark gray, I think really complements the dark green that they have.
Yeah, they wore that a few times last year, wore the dark green on Sunday. That's the uniform they won in, as Preston lifts that one to center, to left, I should say. And the catch made by Sadowski for out number 1. But the Tigers specifically have a few different uniform combinations that they use. They have the pinstripes, the maroons, the black, which is my personal favorite, and then the anthracite uniforms, which they break out every now and then.
I do have to wonder if one day they're going to pick up on the powder blue craze that seems to be going around.
Now Jack Baker, the shortstop, up for the Tigers. Baker 0 for 2. Flew out to center both times. Check swing and strike called.
It's one of the things Trinity women's basketball did, adding to their logo some powder blue.
Strike 2. Yeah, we've seen that a few different teams around campus incorporating powder blue into their colors. Trinity trying to highlight that aspect. Ball outside.
And another Tiger team that's done it is ETBU. They've added powder blue to their uniforms.
Lifted in the air to deep left field and caught. 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, laced on a rope. But fortunately for Babson, right to where the left fielder Sadowski was standing, so no danger there. Very comfortable play.
Now Jack Peterson up. 0 for 1, flew out to left his last time up, hit by a pitch. And his first time up, take strike one.
And Finkelstein really playing very well now. Other than those 3 runs when he first came in for that first full inning of work, he has really picked up the pace. He's handled these Tigers well. And Trinity really trying to find base runners at this point. It's been an inning or two without any Tigers on the base paths.
Strike 3 called inside, and Finkelstein works a quick inning. So once again, no Trinity Tigers on board as we head to the 7th on Tiger Network. Top of the 7th inning in the Alamo City. Trinity leads Babson 8-2, and a new pitcher for the Tigers. It's Will Hellings coming into the game. And Hellings' first pitch as a Tiger, strike one, the transfer student from Odessa College, junior, making his Trinity debut. Check swing, did he go? No.
One of a couple of transfers on this Tiger squad. Always get a couple every year. It's always interesting to see new players on new teams.
Ball 2 from Hellings, 2-1. Talked to Coach Smith about Will Hellings. Says he's one of those guys that maybe he's going to need some momentum to start the year, but if he does get it, watch out. That's fouled back to the backstop.
Like to call them maybe slow start pitchers, where they start really getting into it as the game progresses. And especially if they can get momentum early, they're hard to take out.
Grounded, slow roller to Harris, makes the glove flip for the out. Play in time for Colt Harris, and there's one down in the inning.
Excellent play there. That was a very slow roller. I thought maybe they're going to run it out, but no, quick flip. That was some class play. The Harris to Nelson connection staying strong.
Colt Harris, stronghold at second base for the Tigers. Shows you why they're defensively making the glove flip play. So Julian grounds out for Babson. And now the top of the order, Tanner Santos in for the Beavers.
And a big moment for Helling there, getting that quick first out. Sometimes a statement like that, getting that early momentum, is all a pitcher needs to start feeling good about himself immediately.
And Dave Smith very confident in the talent of Will Hellings. Sharp grounder through. And Santos reaches base with his first hit of the night.
See how they handle this situation. Once again, the threat of a double play to end the inning on the table. Want to work on that momentum that they captured from last inning.
There's strike one. Now in the batter's box for the Beavers, Chris Basile. 0 for 2 today. Grounded out to Harris and got caught looking his last 2 times up. Ground ball foul.
It's also shown his patience in drawing a walk. Certainly has the ability to work a count, but now down in a hole quickly. Wonder what he'll do next.
Runner on first is Santos. 1 down in the inning. Ground ball to Baker. Throw to first. Scoop by Nelson, but not in time. Basile is safe, and 2 runners on for the Beavers.
Yeah, that was a tough play for Baker to make. Great effort, though. You can see his speed to even get to the ball. That was a really close play at first. Bang, bang. Not going the Tigers' way this time. And once again, Babson threatening to score.
Basile credited with a base hit. There's 2 Beavers on the base pads. Tanner grounds that up the middle, could be 2. Throw to first, in time, and it is. The 4th inning-ending double play turned by the Tigers, and it takes us to the bottom of the 7th. Welcome back. Bottom of the 7th on Tiger Network. Maddox McDonald set to lead things off for Trinity. We're going to take strike 1. And a strike, a common occurrence from these Babson pitchers. They've led the nation in walks per 9 in terms of not giving them up the last 3 years.
Yeah, very good philosophy over there. Spends that one in there for another strike. They are very aggressive in attacking the zone. And it's just that type of philosophy. Go after and go to the batter head to head. Challenge him. Make it so he needs to beat you, not the other way around.
Yeah, talking to Coach Noon about maybe what they preach, what's their secret sauce, he just said that's who the pitchers are. They like to attack, they like to throw strikes. As McDonald fouls that into the Babson bullpen. But saying it's not really something that they preach, just the pitchers being themselves and him allowing them to do that. That'll even it at 2-2. Finkelstein following into that mentality that Babson has. Only one walk given up by him and none by Spalter in the limited time he was in. Played into right and the catch made. Szorzinski gets the first out of the inning for Babson.
And still that base runner drought for the Tigers continues. Just hitting it right over to the right fielder. Not a lot of movement required. Really need to start taking account of how long they haven't put someone on base. Still have a comfortable lead, though.
Nice Kai Tinker in the batter's box. Fourth time he's been up today. 1 for 3, struck out a single and popped out. Swings through that for strike 1.
These Tigers have been very efficient in getting home the runners that they do put on base. They've only left one on base the entire game. Now,
not a similar story for Babson. 6 runners left on base and 4 inning-ending double plays. Strike called outside edge.
Man, the double play is just, it's a real momentum killer no matter what inning it comes in. And especially when you end it off, it's a sour taste in your mouth every single time. It doesn't matter who you are.
Played into right. Catch made. Szorzinski again. We're wondering whether it was going to find that spot. Didn't do it as the right fielder handles it.
Just so fast. Szorzinski looking at how far out he was to run in and catch that ball. And to have the communication, came pretty close to each other, but no collision out there. Always got to be sure to call that it's yours and not the other guys.
Nick Lazara up. 1 for 2 today. Flew out the last time he was up, also hit a double.
Lazara playing an important position, coming in and taking up the role that Tyler Pettit left last year. Very big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Big shoes to fill at the catcher position for the Tigers. Tyler Pettit, who felt like he was in his 7th year of college baseball. But Lazara filling in. And takes strike 3. He'll go back to the dugout to end the inning. Jason Finkelstein, what an outing for him in an 8-2 Tiger lead.
Yeah, really picking it up, getting hot. You can see the Babson dugout there. They're happy for him. And even though the score indicates that the Tigers have a comfortable lead, really a majority of this game has been getting Finkelstein comfortable on a collegiate mound.
Third strikeout for Finkelstein ends the inning as we head to the top of the 8th on Tiger Network. Welcome back to Baseball on Tiger Network. Trinity opening an 8-0 lead in the second inning. They have not looked back, up 8-2 in the top of the eighth. This first pitch from Hellings in this inning is strike one.
Hellings working a good first inning for himself last time out. Just really trying to follow up on that momentum that he accrued.
Faces Brant Savage, who doubled the last time he was up, 1 for 3 today. One of 2 RBIs Babson has collected. As this is grounded back to Hellings, he'll trot over to first base for out number 1.
Yeah, and that pitch ate up Brant Savage there. Could do nothing but be jammed and give it right back to Hellings for that quick first out. Not how you want to go down as a cleanup hitter for sure. But sometimes that's just the way the ball plays.
A 1-3 ground ball for Savage. And now Ryan Hasdovic takes strike one.
Scouting out the competition for Region 10 in a region game between Whitworth and Schreiner. Whitworth winning 14-6.
Popped up, and we'll see what they rule here. They're going to say a fair ball, it looks like, and Brandon Nelson makes the play for out number 2.
You can see the smile in the camera there. Just a little bit of a bobble play, but keeping it fair could have potentially gone foul, but playing it anyways, getting another easy out.
So 2 quick outs for Babson as Will Hellings continues to work in his second inning. Joseph Shavana, the starter, went 6. Hellings pitched the 7th and now into the 8th. As he faces Walter Sadowski. Inside, ball called.
Another inter-region game between Centenary and Occidental. Centenary wins that one 6-5. Centenary picked to finish very high in the SCAC this year.
Yeah, Centenary picked to finish right behind Trinity. Won the SCAC 2 years ago, taking down the Tigers in the SCAC tournament. So definitely capable. You know, Coach Diaz always has his group ready. Fouled off as Sadowski stays alive. Talked about it earlier. Trinity picked to win the SCAC for another year. Asked Coach Scannell about it, and you can imagine, knowing him as well as you do, what he probably said. He doesn't really care. He says it's nice to be respected, but overall it's not something that matters.
Yeah, words mean a lot, or words mean nothing. What you do on the field means way, way more. We play the game for a reason.
Swings through that one, and that's strike 3 to end the inning. The first K for Will Hellings as a Trinity Tiger, and we head to the bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th at Trinity University. Trinity Still up 8-2 as Christian Holloway leads off the inning. Still facing Jason Finkelstein, who remains in this game. And throws strike one.
Finkelstein, we can't talk enough about how well he's been doing down the stretch here. You know, it's always nerve-wracking coming in a bad position for your first ever collegiate appearance. And you know, it was a bit bumpy at the start, but now he has really cleaned everything up. Tigers have been struggling to figure out how to get on base.
Finkelstein can retire Holloway. He will have pitched 7 full innings. And he does so there. Gets him looking for his 4th strikeout of the game.
This is a Trinity team that's ranked 22nd in the nation by D3Baseball.com. Certainly have to pitch well against these teams, having 2 in the NUMAC being ranked, with Wheaton, Massachusetts 17 and Salve Regina 19. Some tough competition over there.
Tough competition indeed. We already talked about Wheaton serving as a roadblock for Babson. Said they're ranked 17. Babson receiving a vote in the top 25 poll, as they're usually in the conversation to be ranked. Quality program. MIT kind of in a similar situation. Babson picked to finish 3rd in their own conference. MIT 4th.
And some people may be saying, well, what's the big deal? It's just a vote. Well, in Division III, there may be a little over 400 programs. So to be a program that's receiving any votes at all is a big honor and a big testament to how good you are, because you're at least better than about 350 other programs around the nation.
Coach Noon, over 20 seasons at Babson, he knows what he's doing. Nelson drives that one to right, and it gets down. He will stop at first base, and a 1-out single for Brandon Nelson.
Yeah, hot shot from Nelson, breaking that drought of no base runners. Just got past Santos there. And a base runner for the Tigers. It's been a while.
Brings up Colt Harris for the 4th time today. Struck out his last time up, lined out to short. An incredible play by Jack Julian. And a single his first time up. Runner on first is Nelson. Popped up. Out of play.
And for Trinity, always wanting to play well against good competition, putting up 8 runs. Very good, since ETBU in region 5th in the nation. They are looking to be really good, especially in the pitching department. So if you can jump on some really good pitching early, it's a good sign.
Babson really good pitching year after year. Question marks outside of Spalter. And even though Spalter chased from this game, still expect him to be a reliable pitcher for Babson. 2 years plus of quality work from Tristan Spalter. Getting the opening day nod tonight. But you would assume that Finkelstein's going to factor into this equation now, as that's lifted to center and the catch made.
It's pitched very well. And for Babson, when you do lose some people on the staff, it's a question of, are you a program that rebuilds or reloads? When you reload, you can make run after run after run. When you rebuild, you got to take a year or 2 off. But both these programs have proven that they're ones that like to reload rather than rebuild.
And a pinch hitter for the Tigers, the first of the game, Cal Coney, getting his first at-bat of the season. They check on Harris at first. It's Coney from the Los Angeles area. In his 2nd year with Trinity, a sophomore. There's strike 1.
Los Angeles area having a couple of ranked teams themselves, with Chapman and Laverne out of the SCIAC, a conference that is pretty exclusively in the LA area.
Outside strike 2.
Some really quality baseball in Region 10 overall. you are very hard-pressed to find a program that isn't really good.
Coney lifts that. And Santos makes the catch to end the inning. So Brandon Nelson gets on base, but taken care of ultimately to take us to the 9th on Tiger Network. Ninth inning in San Antonio as Will Hellings still on the hill for the Tigers. And you saw in that last shot the crowd that came out here for opening day. I've been saying for a while, Reed, we need more of a ball game culture at Trinity, and it's so good to see all these people showing up for opening day.
Absolutely. And especially with maybe something for us, a press box in the future perhaps,
please,
out
please,
there
please.
In the field. But it's good to see everyone showing up for the opener. Every team here deserves to have attendance.
Strike 2 from Hellings, making his Tiger debut. Only the second pitcher used by Trinity. Giovanna goes 6. Hellings trying to take over the last 3.
If you're in the San Antonio area and you're not here right now, what are you doing?
I don't know, Reed. I don't know. Spurs played yesterday. No excuses.
Exactly. Got a game tomorrow and a game on Sunday. So if you have a chance, come out and see the Tigers play.
Fouled off as Kylie stays alive.
Babson having one of my more favorite mascots, the Beaver.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Second strikeout for Will Hellings.
Will Hellings, man, sent that batter for a loop with that breaking ball. He's been really solid here in his first appearance for the Trinity Tigers.
Yeah, we talked about him needing momentum. Well, might be some right here. So face Schwarzinski, who's had some pretty nice plays in right field tonight. 0 for 2 with a walk today.
If you do want to catch that game tomorrow, it's at 2 p.m. Be sure to come out if you're in the area.
Strike called on the lower corner. It's the first of 3 games. 3-game weekend series. We have a yearly tradition that the Beavers come down here. 2 p.m. as you said tomorrow, and then 10:30 a.m. on Sunday.
Of course, with Babson being out of Massachusetts, they got a flight schedule to keep up with. Originally, I believe first pitch was at noon.
Whacked. Baker has it. Not in time, and a base hit for Mike Schwarzinski.
Good play with the glove by Baker, but trying to throw out an outfielder with that kind of speed that far out, it's a tall task. And you can see just safe by a country mile there. Good throw either way.
Trzynski did not have a hit last season. There's his first in quite some time, as he's 1 for 3 today with that base hit. And at least one defensive substitution for Trinity right now. Corson Hastings holding Trzynski on first base. So Brandon Nelson's day is done. He's swinging a miss there. Some of these other Tigers players getting to finish out this game that got out of hand fast.
And really, that's kind of been the deciding factor, that left on base category. Trinity.
Runner goes, throw high, and Trzynski able to take second and get himself into scoring position.
Once again, just a bad cut for Lazara there. Not the most favorable situation, having the ball kind of go behind the batter. It's going to be a tough play to make. But Babson stranding 7 runners and those 4 double plays ending the inning. That's really what's cost them down the stretch.
Swings through that one. Stay in the batter's box. Runner on second for the Beavers in their last inning to work with. Down 6, and they've been down from the jump. 4 innings in the first for Trinity, 4 innings for the second, building an 8-2 lead. Fouled off.
Really a testament to how much trust that these pitchers put into the infield. Not afraid to have contact with their pitches because they know they got some pretty reliable guys at their back.
Fouled off again as the pinch hitter Xander Teeter continues to stay alive. Teeter from Saratoga Springs, New York. Made his first start in this building last season against Trinity. As the sophomore continues to work against Will Hellings with a runner in scoring position. Fouled off again, and a good at-bat from Xander Teeter.
Very good at-bat. It's one of the big thorns in the sides of pitchers, and an advantage that the batters get is that you need time to figure someone out. Just foul, 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 foul. Eventually, you're going to force them into something bad.
Hit in the air to center. Catch made for out number 2.
Good pitch by Hellings there. Drifting in just to the inside and then getting under it. Shows off the strength to get it all the way out there. Really muscling it. But now Babson, it's going to be quite the comeback with only 1 out remaining.
The Beavers down to their last out. And another pinch hitter, Dante Davanzo in. The first year from Ashland, Maine. Or Massachusetts, I should say. Trying to extend this game for the Beavers in his first career at bat. Inside strike called.
Once again, a good opportunity to get these young players this experience. High pressure situations in college baseball, they're going to happen plenty of times in any career.
That's low.
And to get that experience early, where maybe the stakes are a little lower for game 1 of the year, could really come in handy if the situation were to occur, say, in the NEWMAC Championship.
Ground ball to second. There's the final out, and the Tigers take opening day 8-2 against the Babson Beavers.
Great game all around for Trinity. And not to say that Babson necessarily played poor, It was just a lot of missed opportunities for the Beavers, and maybe a huge testament to Shavana to induce so many double plays, and then for Hellings to come in and just shut it down for the rest of the way. Give mad prompts to Finkelstein for coming in, and after a little bit of a rough start doing what he did. You see all those zeros for Trinity on the scoreboard after that second inning. Pretty much, no, really all of it is Finkelstein.
Finkelstein able to go the rest of the way after Babson's opening day starter, Tristan Spalter, knocked out of the game with only 2 outs, really set Babson behind, and you see the swing that started it all. A Brandon Nelson 3-run homer to put the 3 runs on the scoreboard for the Tigers.
Really, sometimes it's just about getting that opening salvo, and then the hits started pouring in, and before we knew it, the ace was gone, and that is worst case scenario for any team. You can imagine we would be saying the same thing if Babson did that to Shavana. But Tigers on the other end of that situation, great offense for those first 2 innings. And if you're up ahead and you can hold it for the rest of the game, it's still a quality win.
So Trinity takes game 1 of this best-of-3 series, 8-2, as they win on opening day. For everyone in the control room and Reed Rosales, I'm Cole Isaacson saying so long from San Antonio.